Good evening, family. It's Tyra Shivers again with the Empowerment Platform. We are here just to empower you to be what you want to be and achieve your goals in any way we can. The purpose of the Empowerment Platform is always just to provide resources, tools, information, and content to help you out. Tonight, I'm joined with a fellow Extreme Execution Certified Coach, Mr. Jamel Fain, and we're just going to chop it up a little bit. We know that with everything going on, there's a lot of uncertainty, there's a lot of questions, and then life has just been upended. It's not the way you thought it was going to be, and things change rapidly. So we don't purport or say or think that we have all the answers, but we just want to let you know that we're here to chat with you and just hang out as we always do. It's a family thing. So as you come in, if you want to comment on this post, you can, wherever you're listening at, whether it's Facebook or YouTube. And you know that if you're on Facebook, you got to go to streamyard.com/Facebook so you can get your name seen if you comment. If you don't care about your name being seen, you do not have to do that. Your comments will be seen and I will put them on the screen. What's going on, Jamel?
What's going on with you?
Nothing much. So me and Jamel was chatting just a little bit earlier about keys to a 1% lifestyle. And 1% doesn't always mean just the money part. And that's what a lot of people think about, because when you hear about the top 1%, you hear about their wealth and what they have and their achievements, just the money part, the items, the things. But in order to be truly have a 1% lifestyle, you got to have a 1% mindset, 1% in your health, that's physical and mental health, 1% in your relationships, and then finally 1% in the wealth. Because if you have 1% in the wealth but don't have all the other things, you're still lost. And it's evident that billionaires and millionaires commit suicide. They're unhappy, they have alcoholism. So money isn't the entire key to this thing. When we talk about mindset, there's two mindsets: growth and fixed. A fixed mindset says that I can't do this. I was born this way, so this is how I am. And a fixed mindset keeps you kind of stuck. You don't have that growth. You don't think you can move beyond where you are. And it's just not true. A growth mindset says that you can be whatever you want to be. What you put your mind to, you can achieve it. If you study hard, you can become good in it. A lot of times when you talk about the fixed and the growth mindset, it's about schoolwork. Because I don't know if you heard it before, Jamel, but some people just say, I'm just not good at math.
Yeah.
I'll never be good at math. This is not my thing. You can be good at math if you put the time in to be good at math.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean you enjoy it, but you put that time in and you can do it. What do you have? You have anything else on the mindset, Jamel?
When you were talking about fixed and growth, the first word that came to mind was exposure for me. Um, Fixed, I believe, comes from a limited exposure to things that are different. The more that you are exposed, the more that you have the capacity to grow. And so I think that a lot of times we get so comfortable in our own boxes and our own squares of what's familiar to us. But as we allow ourselves to be exposed to new things, it allows us to be broken and expanded. And so I just want to encourage whoever's watching to not limit your exposure to new ideas, to new people, to things that would challenge you to expand yourself. Like, don't be afraid of that breaking process, because that breaking process can produce true growth in you.
Absolutely. And I don't know who said it, and I'm not going to say any name because I don't want to not give credit to the
Hmm.
proper person. But they said once you learn something new, once you stretch or expand or have new information, your mind can never go back to the same.
Oh yeah,
So that
yeah,
definitely
yeah.
goes into what you were talking about. When you're exposed to something different and you see it, you can't go back. Even if you don't make the change, you at least know that something else is out there. So you've already expanded and you have that
It's
growth.
it's crazy because it makes you dissatisfied with where you are as you see something else. Just seeing it makes you question why you are where you are, and if you can go to wherever you're looking at. I mean, it's almost like your natural eyesight. Like once you are able to see like ahead, it allows your brain to be able to think of ways to get there. And so
Absolutely.
it's a beautiful thing.
Beautiful. So after we leave that mindset, because, and we're going in order, these are how I have seen others teach it. And when I get on coaching calls and mindset calls or growth calls, this is how it's taught. Because if you don't have your mindset right first, you can't achieve the rest of or it won't
Absolutely.
last. So you got to have that growth mindset first, and then it'll help you in all the other areas. And of course, next we go to physical and mental health. You need both. And you need your mental health, because if your mind isn't right, how can you even think or function properly to do anything else?
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine I went to college with. We did the podcast 2 or 3 weeks ago, and we talked about mental health. He's a counselor, has his own mental health practice. And most people, there's a big stigma around mental health. Oh, if I go, there's something wrong with me. Why should I have to go? Um, People are going to talk about me, or they don't, whatever you hear. But
Yeah.
he really laid some things out, and he made me realize that having just a check in can do all the good. Nothing has to be wrong. You don't have to have a problem, or it doesn't have to be major. You just go do a check in, say, "Hey, I'm getting ready to get a new job, having feeling a little nervous. Let me check in."
Yeah.
And at least with that, and like you said, that offers exposure, because now you have some tools to deal with what's going on in your life. So your mental health is definitely needed. Even if you have a friend, if you feel like you need
Absolutely.
a counselor, just somebody to talk to, anybody, just to keep your mentals, like Marshawn Lynch say,
Yeah.
gotta get my mentals right.
Yeah.
Then your health, physical health. I lack in this part and gain some weight. I said I'm gonna get start working out. Got to lose a couple of pounds. But if you're not physically strong, you won't have the energy, and you just won't be able to last. You'll be tired. You'll be frustrated, and with a lack of physical health, all other problems can happen to your body, affect your mental, affect everything else. So, want to make sure that physical health and mental health you're taking seriously, and it doesn't have to. Because for me, I used to think that if I wanted to go get in shape, I need to go lift all these weights. I got to
Hmm.
do all of this. But I just know that, hey, if I just start walking around the block 5, 10, 15
Yeah.
minutes at a time, I can build that up. What you think about that?
When you were talking about the mental health, I thought about how once a week we had to at home we had to go in the house and clean out the refrigerator. And because we were so busy as a family, we would sometimes have cooked some food on like a Sunday night, and then it gets pushed way back in the corner. And on a Friday, you will go in the fridge and you're like, something stinks. And
Mhm.
so many times in our lives, we have these areas that stink, and it's just because we keep stuffing stuff in the back. And you got that old ham sandwich from 2 months ago that's just sitting in the back and is making the whole fridge stink. If you take the time just to go in there and just clear some of the clutter out, you will find a way to grab that sandwich and just throw it away. And that's what the mental health side is. Being a black man, I know many of us have been taught that it's weak to go ask for help. It's a sign of weakness to go and sit down and talk to someone. But just having that exposure once again of being able to sit down with someone and express those thoughts and those ideas, and having them comb through them, it gives us that space to once again just take out those areas of our lives that are causing us a stench, that's causing, you know, our marriage to stink a little bit, or the way that we're dealing with our kids, there's some disorder there. And just going in and being able to get that stuff cleaned out will allow us to truly be who we're supposed to be. And then that mental side too, it affects our physical body. I mean, stress is the cause of so many different diseases in the body, simply because we aren't doing the first step, which is that self-care.
Right.
I mean, it's pivotal, man, just to have a person to go and just express those thoughts to. And like you were saying with the weights, it's funny because abs, if you will, are created in the kitchen, not in the gym. And so that's like what you feed yourself is the most important part. I mean, there's no way that you can outrun. I know down here in Texas we have Whataburger, and I love getting a triple meat Whataburger, a large fry and a small fry. And when I'm eating it, I'm not thinking about it, but I mean, I probably got to run like 25 miles just to burn off all the stuff that I
Right.
just ate. You know what I mean? And so it's like what you feed yourself is more important than how hard you work. You can work out smart and be in and out in 40 minutes instead of lifting weights for 3 hours a day and not seeing any kind of results. So it's just, once again, that goes back to the exposure. You know, you when you allow yourself to be exposed to new information, you can get information that will make things so much easier in your life. So,
Absolutely. Once we get our mindset right, we're taking our mental health and our physical health seriously, making changes there, then you can go into your relationships. And we're talking about relationships with your family, relationships with your wife, your kids, relationship with your extended family, your friends, just all those associations. You still there?
I can't hear you.
Let me see. What about now? You can hear me now? Not sure how we fell out. You might have to jump out and jump back in. We'll give him a few seconds. Technology will always hit you in the hard spot. But when we're talking about relationships, the word that comes to mind that I think about is balance. Balance. Let's see if he's back. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can. Sorry about that. I don't know what
Okay.
happened.
It's always technology will get you in one way or another. So we were just diving into relationships, and I was thinking about balance, and that's what me and you were talking about.
Yeah.
A lot of times when you're trying to create that 1% lifestyle and you're trying to do so much, you have the best intentions in mind. I'm doing it for my family. I'm doing it for my friends. I'm doing it for my people. But you lose balance, and those relationships that you have, that's what you're sacrificing. And when you start to sacrifice your relationships, even with the purest of intentions, it comes back in the end.
Yeah.
Because then your children, who you did all of this hard work for, they say, well, dad or mom wasn't at home. You were never there. You missed all of my games. You weren't at my plays. You weren't here. You weren't there. And even for my kids, I mean, I try my best to schedule everything around them. But if I go to a meeting in the evening, you always got to go to meetings.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'm like, I go to a meeting or two a month. But that one time to them seems like all the time.
Yeah.
So when you are working on your 1% relationships, me and Jamel was talking about scheduling and setting up expectations. When you schedule something, you want to make sure that whoever you have a relationship with understand why you're doing it, what it's for, the time, and then you give them an opportunity to let them speak to the expectations they have of you. So if my family expects me to spend Saturday with them, I might say, well, in order for us to do this, I'm trying to go here. Here's a goal. Let me do my work from X o'clock in the morning to noon. And then from noon, all the rest of the Saturday is our time. That's your time. And I won't do anything during that time. And when you set up expectations, then your relationships can be healthy and strong, because it's a whole nother paradigm and can get so deep in what type of relationship that you have and what you need to be doing in that relationship. But just make sure you're balanced. Don't put everything in front of your relationships. And we were talking about selfishness as well. I'm gonna let you take that one, put that question out there, we can discuss it.
I was talking to Tyrus earlier about it because there's a book out there that talks about highly successful individuals and how selfish they are. And what I was asking Tyrus was, is it okay to be selfish if the end goal is worth it? And what I left the conversation with was an understanding that to set clearly defined boundaries for your success, and to communicate that effectively with your loved ones. And Tyrus, I would like for you to speak to just a little bit the differences between those boundaries with your immediate family and those boundaries with the extended family, or those who aren't a part of the inner circle.
Gotcha. Absolutely. So the boundaries with the immediate family, my wife, my kids, and this is just solely my perspective of doing this. I think the word selfish is a perception. First off, people will say that you're selfish with something, but I see it as being, I am focused on the goal that I set up and set in place. Now, to me, I owe and have a responsibility to my immediate family, my wife and my kids. That way, I set the expectation with them. I'm going to be doing this at this time block it. And then on this time, it's your time. I will not do anything that I'm not supposed to be doing, extra stuff, business, whatever it is. If it's my wife's time on a Thursday evening, which is her time after the kids go to bed, I'm not doing anything else on that time. That is the expectations that I set for her. Now, the extended family, my friends, my grandma, my long lost cousin down the block, for them, they may say, well, I don't ever talk to Tyrus, or Tyrus doesn't hang out. We don't do this or we don't do that. But my goal is set. And if your goal for you, or you're comfortable at where you are, working your job, you can hang out, you can chill. I just don't have that type of time anymore. And honestly, since you're extended, I don't owe you an explanation.
Exactly.
But because I love you, I still care about my friends, I care about people that I'm close to, I just let you know, hey, this is what I got going on. And I just don't have the time. I don't have a whole lot of time to talk on the phone. I don't have a whole lot of time to just sit around and shoot the breeze and talk about this. Unless you're on the same wavelength and path,
Yeah.
and we're going somewhere similar, we just got to limit our conversation. I think, Les Brown says OQP, only quality people. And that doesn't mean that I'm better than you. It doesn't mean that I dislike you or you did something to me. It only means that I set up a place that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
And that's not a part of the path. And that there's a larger picture at play. My picture and my goal for my family is one thing. Everything else has its place.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of where I set the boundaries. If I have a Saturday night, like I do poker night with close friends, granted, those friends are real estate investors and we're still kind of on the same page.
Exactly.
But
yeah.
I want to be around quality people who want more than what they have.
Yeah.
And each time I get on here to talk to the audience, I'm trying to let them know that they can have more than what they have too.
Yeah.
A lot of times, like you said, it's just exposure and not access to the proper tools, which I'm from a small county in Alabama. I know everything about not having anything to do, not having what you want, not having a rec center, not having basketball courts to go to, not being able to go to a gym. So once I was exposed to more, I wanted more.
Yeah.
And if you don't want more, that's fine. But don't say I'm selfish or I changed or you think you're better than me, because that's just not the facts. The facts are I'm trying to reach a goal, and me hanging out on the corner with you won't get me to that goal. That's it. More power to you. Is good for you. Great. When I'm able to come out, I will come out.
Yeah.
But until then, I will continue building and moving and going towards the goal. So I think that's kind of where we left that conversation, with the balance and then with the clear boundaries.
Okay. Now, see what I, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. What I think I'm hearing you say is you've learned the power of the word no, in that every time you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And so you've now become very cautious about what you say yes to, because if it doesn't fit the ultimate goal, then you know that by saying yes to that, you're ultimately not getting what you want.
Absolutely.
Am I? Okay.
Yep, absolutely. Because the more you say yes, like you saying no to something, it's time. We only have a limited amount of time, and we can never get it back.
Yeah.
So each time you deviate from the course or the path, you lose time. I might need to read this book, but you want me to hang out tonight. Reading that book is going to get me to my goal. Hanging out with you, not so much.
Yeah.
Now I might have to just plan something and say, hey, on this date, this is my downtime. Now we can hang out and do what we need to do. And that's cool. But for me, I mean, if I'm hanging out with an agenda.
Right. Absolutely.
Just to be honest, the friends that I have, the circle that I have, not everybody's looking to do more and achieve more. And like even with the group chat that we're in with the other coaches, you see everybody's trying to get together. Everybody's trying to learn more, bounce ideas off of each other, grow, create things. Nobody's in that group just chilling.
Yeah.
Or hanging out or just putting. There is no nonsense in that group.
Right.
There are no. I haven't seen just empty conversation.
Random text messages.
Right. Yeah. Everything has a purpose and an agenda for all of us to get to the same goal. And as we pivot, once we cover the mindset, the health, the relationships, set the boundaries, clear expectations, then you can worry about the wealth. And when people say wealth, you know, you cannot create true wealth by trading time for dollars or labor for money. That means you work in a job. If you don't go to that job, you will not get paid. So true wealth will never be achieved by working a 9-to-5 job. You can live a good life. You can have things, but to be wealthy, you have to have multiple streams of income. And those other streams have to work while you sleep.
Absolutely.
It should not have to rely on you. If it relies on you, it's not a true stream that's going to make you wealthy.
Yeah.
Now, Coach K, Kendall Ficklin, I took something from his call yesterday that really opened my eyes. He said, and I'm guilty of this, most people want multiple streams of income, but what they end up getting are drops. And that's because you never make one thing a stream until you move to the next one. Or you try to scale before you're ready. So I've done this. And when I went to real estate investing, I opened up a property management company. Did that, grew it, Then I moved right to trying to flip houses. Then from there,
Yeah.
moved to trying to consult in flipping houses. And instead of making one thing large and a real stream, I had drops,
Yeah.
trickles,
Yeah. Yeah.
trickles coming down.
Yeah.
So now I almost did it with the coaching. I got certified. I said, okay, I'm a coach, but I'm also going to consult and bring this entirely different business model in.
Yeah.
And I took it back. I said, you know what? I'm going to have that one stream coaching. Once I master that and it gets me to my number, how much I want to make a month, then I will scale. Another thing Coach K taught was the difference between scaling in and scaling out. Scaling in is when you have coaching. You might be a one-on-one coach. Now, when you grow that to where you want to grow it, you can scale in and do group coaching.
Okay.
It's similar.
Right.
The same thing. You're just adding another piece to it. Scaling out is I'm a coach. I've moved that up, did what I want to do. Now I'm going to go invest in telecom companies. Now you're scaling out to something else and doing something entirely different.
Right.
So that really hit me with, okay, I need to stop having these drips of income coming in.
Yeah.
Create
Yeah.
one stream before I move to the next one. With that being said, you're a certified extreme execution coach. What prompted you to do that, and what are you looking or trying to do with it overall?
It's funny. My 9 to 5, taught me that I should be coaching. I was mentoring most of my staff, and I had a few of them say, "You should be a life coach. Like, what are you doing? Like, why are you just doing this? You need to be coaching." They would call their girlfriends and and put them on speakerphone and say, "Can you walk her through this, or can you help her to figure that out?" And it just sparked something in me to say, you know what, let me invest in something that I love to do and that I would do for free. And so when you were talking about scaling it, it's so easy to get caught up in doing multiple things at the same time and never do anything.
Right.
And so that same focus that you were talking about with your family and business and limiting things that are outside of that court is the same thing that I'm learning to do with the business.
Mm-hmm.
I can get so fixated on, okay, let me start to coach in basketball, and then let me start coaching in business, and then let me start coaching in here and over there, instead of let me truly digest what the disc is.
Right.
Let me digest what it means to be an extreme execution coach. Let me learn this so that I can then use it in multiple areas. So it's so easy to get busy just trying to do, and you don't even have an understanding of what you're doing. And so that's been a little bit of my journey in this process, is just truly trying to master something that I love, and then from there taking that and applying it to the different areas that may come into my life.
Okay. Great. Yeah. Because it's so much, the disc just goes so deep.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's surface level, but then when you really start seeing the application and what it can do for your life and then for other people's life, for the business, and learning why people do what they do,
Yeah.
you can see it. And now I'm starting to look at everything from the disc lens.
Everything.
Everything.
Everything. Yeah. My wife, my daughter, um, in the grocery store, at work. I mean, just looking at people, studying behavior patterns, and then growing up in my ability to adapt to them. I think that's been the biggest part, is challenging myself to now adapt to other people,
Right.
and to make myself available for them in service. Like the disc really shows you how you could be of better service to other people and winning them in whatever area it is. It's just it teaches you to value differences as well. I mean, it's been an amazing tool in my life so far, man. I'm just super duper excited to be a part of the team.
Absolutely. What are you? What's your
I'm a I'm a high C and I'm like 99C, 81D. I think it's 55S and like a 15I.
okay?
So
Okay.
yeah.
I'm a high D, but it's not 99. I'm like 78D
Okay.
and like 67C. So
Okay. Wow. Okay.
yeah, I have learned that my ability to tackle problems head on, make decisions, work under pressure, those are my strengths. And then the C helps me balance that by looking at procedures, process, and I'm able to put them together. Now, I'm not always able to follow other people, because I think my D kind of comes into play. If I can do it better, faster,
Yeah.
I'll change it
Yeah.
rather than just be straight compliant with the way somebody else has it written. I'm always looking at the next thing. How can I make this better?
Mm,
How can
okay.
I do it faster? How can I lay the process down and make it smoother? So
Okay.
sometimes I have to balance that and say, you know what, let me let it breathe a little bit and think
Yeah.
about it. And my wife, on the other hand, is like a 97C,
Mm.
95S.
Oh wow.
So the D is low, the I is low. Very
Yeah.
supportive, very to the straight A, B, C, D,
Yep.
E. If I skip one of those in a conversation, it's like, hold up.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait. Like it's like okay, you're moving too fast.
Yeah,
What did you?
time
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah.
sure? And
Yeah.
when she asked me that, am I sure? I'm having to go back and think now
Yeah.
versus because used to, yeah. Yep. I looked at everything and then I think about it, I'm like, I don't
Maybe
think
I
I looked
didn't.
at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
So having that, it I think the disc, when we circle back to all of these components of a 1% lifestyle, the disc can help anyone see
Absolutely.
each of those sections and then be able to respond differently. And I like what you said, be of service to other people. When you're in the grocery store and the teller's communicating a certain way, you looking at them through a different lens now,
Yeah.
understanding why. And man, I read the disc every day. I read mine, I read my wife's, then I look at my clients, and now I'm just starting to study that thing to try to have the most information available
Absolutely. Yeah.
because it just helps you. And like you said, it helps you be of service.
Yeah.
Understanding why somebody reacted the way they did, why they say it the way, why they make the decisions that way. You just have a completely different understanding.
And there are so many people who need things, but they don't understand what they are and kind of why they continue to hit the same roadblocks. I mean, me being a high C, very, very cautious, very, very stuck in my routines
Hmm.
and wondering for most of my life why it's so hard to just act and not think. Like I think super analytical, man. Like it's my wife is like everything is not that deep, but it's like in my head it's just layers and layers of just like processes and systems. The disc helped me to see like, oh, like this is why. Like, and there's a time for you to be analytical. There's a time for you just to have a conversation and shut up and like not to psychoanalyze everything and everybody. It's like you can truly abuse your gift if you don't learn to control it, if you don't learn to control that part of you that happens so easily. And so I mean it's been, I mean, she's a high I, so we go back and forth. Like it's it's she's like, let's just do it now. And I'm like, well, wait, let's be cautious. Let's try to figure this. And she's like, why are you so slow? I've learned to now appreciate that I, because that I brings everybody to the party, and you get all of the different components that you need to be successful. And so it's been an amazing blessing, man, just to learn to appreciate difference, to
Right.
learn to appreciate people. And it's amazing.
Absolutely. And for the audience that's not aware of what the DISC is, the DISC is a personality based assessment that really gauges why you do the things you do, make the decisions that you make based on your personality. So you have your D, which is your dominant. Your D is more problem solving, go getter, decisive, make the decisions. The higher you go, the faster you might make decisions without
Yeah.
looking at everything. And well, let's go through all of them. The I is your influence. Those are your people that they can be your super extroverts. They really love the crowd. They're
Passionate.
emotional. They're just your people that they love people. They love to be out. They love to be in the end. They love to be of service. Then you have your S, which is your S is kind of like your steadiness, your pace, your support. Your S people are very supportive. They may be a little bit more introverted, a little bit more quiet,
Yeah.
but they move at a steady pace. They are whatever you need, they're there. Oftentimes they will put themselves on the back burner to make sure that the team wins. Then you have your C, which is your compliance people, your analytical people, they're extroverted as well. They like rules, procedures. They need to know, like Jamil was saying, I need to look at every single thing and
every piece
is right. And for your C people, you can't just throw them out something and they're gonna ride with you. They want to know what the plan is, what the blueprints are to this thing. Your D's and your I's, they might put something together. It might not have I don't have the instructions, but we're gonna get it done.
We're just gonna do it. We're gonna find a way to make it happen.
Yeah. You see people be like, hold on, wait a minute. I seen the instruction manual.
Where's the book?
Let's go all the way through.
Yeah.
So those are your major components of the DISC. Everybody has tendencies and why they do things. The DISC just allows you to recognize your strengths and your limitations. Not saying that any one thing is better than the other. They all have their proper place and what they do, and they all work together. And when you learn to look at things through the lens of the DISC, you have a better understanding of why, because people love to say, I don't know why so-and-so do the things they do.
Yeah.
Well, the DISC will answer that for the most part. You will get a understanding of it. And Jamel, I know you said you had to run to a date night, game night.
Yes.
I want to keep you and have you get in trouble. Oh my!
I'm gonna blame you, right?
Please don't blame me. But I appreciate you joining me.
Tyrus, thank you, brother.
Awesome conversation with you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We will connect later on.
Oh, absolutely. So, families, give Jamel a good night. Wish you the best of luck.
Have a good night.
And that you win. What games you win?
I don't know. I'm trying to get them to play Monopoly.
Okay.
Like they've been avoiding me for a long time, so I'm hoping I can get a good game in tonight. So we'll see what happens.
Cool. So be blessed. Stay safe. Everything that's going on, and I know we'll connect in the group and have those good talks and chats. And if there's anything you need, just let me know. I'll be here.
Yes, sir. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
No problem. All right, family. So let's go back over our topics for tonight, which really is about you living a 1% lifestyle, even in this time of uncertainty where things are changing every day. We really don't know what's next. You can still live a 1% lifestyle. Have your mindset right. Do not be fixed Always be looking to stretch yourself, to grow, to get stronger, better, faster, quicker, sharpen your tools. Have that mindset of what's next, what's my goal. Set your sights on something. If you're too focused on pandemic, people passing away, things going wrong, if you're too focused on that, you can trap yourself into a fixed mindset and a woe is me, or things are just so bad. But even in the midst of the situations going on, there's still room for growth and room for an abundant life. I mean, if we think back to other times where things like this has happened, many great inventions came out of these times. Times like these force you to sit and to think. They have you sitting back and thinking about what's next for me. So take this time to get your mindset right. It's not all about sitting and watching TV, binge on Netflix. Do those things, but don't overdo them. Have that balance. Then move to your health. This is a phenomenal time to work on your mental health and physical health. Mentally, you might have to do that Zoom check-in with a counselor or with a friend or whatever level you may need. Physically, many gyms, and I've seen many trainers on Facebook doing live Zoom training. I see many people doing private lessons on Zoom. And then there are tons of apps. If you are not working at this time, or if you're stuck in the house, or if you have limited mobility, whatever, you can't get out, this is the time to do the things that you say that you've been wanting to do, but you didn't have time. This is the time to really get serious about your life. Time to reflect. You have that time now. We lead from mindset, health, mental health, physical, relationships. This is the time to get right the relationships that may not be right. As you sit and think about past relationships, there may be some things that need to be healed. There may be some phone calls that you need to make. Yesterday, I was on 2 different calls. I was on a coffee and question Q&A with one of the other coaches, Coach Kendall. And then I was on a G-Men, which is Grind Nation Men call with men all around the country. And they were talking about what I'm talking about right now. So I actually brought the topic from both of those conversations to tonight because they just made an impact on me. But what I learned in the men's call was there were a lot of people that needed to reach out to people and clean up some past history. Have some tough conversations. Forgiveness comes to mind. Oftentimes things happen that we're not so comfortable with. People do things to us. We just have to have forgiveness. And forgiveness is for us. It's not for that person. When you forgive them, it's for you. It's for you to be able to move on. It's for you to be able to change. And another thing that came out of that conversation was be love, show love, give love, even if you don't receive it back. And that shows a level of maturity. You might not agree with everything somebody did, and you may want them to change, but it's not your place to change them. The only thing you can do is to love them, and you may have to have distance. If you want a conversation, and I'll use my life experience, there were some things that happened in my life and some decisions that my dad made that I never knew why. I didn't understand it. But when he got out of prison and I was an adult And I wanted to have a relationship with him more than what I did. I wanted it to be more than just a phone call here and there. So what happened was I had a conversation. I said, Dad, and this is let me back up. I had a pre-conversation with myself. I said, it is not worth, to me, it's not worth it living the rest of my life not having a relationship with him. So I'm going to ask him these questions. I had already said in my mind, I'm going to forgive him no matter what he says, no matter what he does. I'm going to hear him and then I'm going to move on. So what I did was I called him. I said, Dad, I have some questions I want to ask you. I just want you to be honest with me. And I asked him my questions. He gave me his answers and we moved on. Sometimes with our relationships, if you want and you value a relationship, sometimes you just got to have a conversation and decide in yourself that no matter what, you're going to move on. Now, on the other side, if there's a relationship that you want and that person doesn't want a relationship with you, just be love. Just love that person. Just if they tell you not to contact them, then you be respectful and don't. But just show love. If they are open to you contacting them, but they don't give you the same response that you want or expect, just be love, be mature. Text them, call them, message them, and let them sit and let them breathe. It may take them time to come back and give you something. And what I've learned is most people, they treat you the way they've been treated or what they're familiar with. And a lot of times they just don't know how to make that change. And if you be love, show them love, be respectful, be kind, be there, be consistent, then they will see that and recognize that. And maybe that's the change that they need. But you won't get there if you say, oh, I'm going to text you. Oh, you didn't text me back. And then you send a nasty message saying blah, blah, blah. Well, forget it then. Value the relationships that you have in your life because time is not infinite. And it just shows a level of maturity in you. At the end of the day, it's about you and about you being whole. So sometimes you just got to make phone calls, have difficult conversations, be respectful, and then move on. So you got to move on. You got to grow. And then at the end of this thing is the wealth factor. Everybody, not everybody, but we want a 1% life. We think about wealth. We think about money. But you got to have mindset, health, and relationships. And then the wealth comes into play. And when you're thinking about wealth, you're thinking about multiple streams of income. But as I learned yesterday, you got to focus on a thing, make it an actual stream, and then move on to the next thing. Because what I had was multiple drips of income, nothing really doing anything fantastic. I was doing a whole lot, but I wasn't really gaining much from it. So I've dialed back. And as Jamel, my guest, before he had to leave, he said, sometimes you got to say no. People will ask you and want you to do things that they think will be good for what you're doing, what you're thinking. It'll match what you're trying to do, or it complements what you're doing. And when you do that, you take time away from the focus on the other thing that you were trying to do. So be laser focused, be dialed in to your goal. Set your goal, be dialed into it. Don't let anybody take you away from that. Now, with your immediate family, your spouse, your significant other, your children, you got to have balance. You got to set up proper expectations. You got to time balance. You got to block schedule. And you got to be respectful to what they expect from you and your responsibilities. But for everything else out there, stay focused to your goal and your dream and your passion. Because I have done it. I have joined this and joined that, tried to sell this, tried to do that, all in the name of being wealthy and having multiple streams of income. And all I got was drips, a little bit of money here. And some things didn't even make money. Some things you lose money in because you pay to do something, or you put money into something and you don't focus on it. It doesn't grow. You have to put time in and make it grow. So as you think about being wealthy, money-wise, and develop those multiple streams of income, be sure and certain that it's on your plan, your path, with the end goal in sight, and say no to everything else. Don't be afraid of no. No is a powerful word. And no does not mean you're selfish. No does not mean you're better than anybody else. No does not mean that you hate their idea. No just means this isn't for me at this point in my life. I wish you luck. I know it'll do great for you, but it's not great for me at this moment. And when you do that, you're able to laser focus on the thing that you want to do and be passionate about. So in those 4 areas of life, I just want you to think through them. Make sure you have each level at a maximum. That way you can grow. That way you can have a true 1% lifestyle. Money can be made. My great grandfather used to say, money is harder to keep than it is to get. So don't worry about the money. If you have the mindset, if you're healthy physically and mentally, and you have great relationships, you will attract the wealth. The wealth will come. Another thing to do with wealth is to be of value to people. You can, I don't know who said it, might have been Jim Rohn, somebody said that you can get anything you want. Actually, it might have been Zig Ziglar. You can get anything you want by helping others get what they want. So be of value, be of service, be a servant, be giving, freely giving. Help people with your time, your talent, your abilities, and you will attract everything that you're looking for. Because when you're helping people and when you're surrounded by OQP, only quality people, then you attract the things that you want the most. I don't think that there's anything wrong with binging on Netflix. I binge Netflix, but I binge Netflix at specific times. If you want more, you have to work for it. And you have to let it grow, and you have to water it, and you have to really, really give it time. That's another factor of the wealth thing and the building the streams of income. Time. Let time pass with you working on this thing. I've been, that's one of my, I would say, life learned lessons that I learned hard, is that it's not a rush. If you don't really build it and grow it and focus on it and concentrate in it, it will not grow. It will not get you to where you're trying to get to. You have to be dialed in all the way with it. Because if you say that you want something, you should want to put that work in to get it. I think that oftentimes we want to microwave success, but success is something that is not a microwave type thing. It's not a 100-meter race. It's a marathon. It's something that you have to work, that will break you to the core to get to, that will wear you down. And you have to have all of those other 3 perspectives in order to make it. Because if you have wealth, but you don't have the other 3, it won't last. It just will not stay there. So make sure that you have the other 3, then worry about the financial aspect of it. And then you will truly have a 1% lifestyle. Actually, you have a lifestyle that most people won't have. And my only words about the pandemic and the things that we're going on is I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that God knows everything that's going on. He already knows how it ends. We just need to trust and to continue to do what we can do. Control the controllables. That means washing your hands, keeping clean, social practicing, social distancing, and doing those necessary things that we can do as a good citizen. And then we let God handle the rest. Trouble doesn't last always. As a human race, these things have happened. So there's nothing new under the sun. It's new for us in our lifetime. We had no expectation of anything like this, but just be trusting and just be a great citizen and do what you can. Do your part, but don't worry, because worry won't change it. Worry won't make it any better. And stop buying up all the toilet paper. Do things decent and in order. You don't have to be sensationalized. Yes, these are trying times. Yes, they are difficult. Yes, they never happened to any of us before. Yes, it is changing our life as we know it, the way we operate, the way we do things, the way things will be done in the future. All of these things are changing. So be malleable, which be able and open to change, and balance yourself and be ready. Takeaways for tonight is, what are you going to do to get yourself to 100% in each of the 4 areas: mindset, health, relationships, and wealth? What are you going to do to get yourself to 100% in each of the 4 areas of life to live a 1% lifestyle? Takeaway 2, who are you going to contact that you haven't contacted in a while just to say hello? Who are you going to smooth over or do your part in smoothing over a relationship that has some rocks and some hills and some ditches and some ups and downs? Not saying that you have to establish a relationship, but who are you going to make the phone call to? And it doesn't have to be a bad relationship. Who have you not talked to in a long time that could maybe use the sound of your voice? Might be a surprise to them, might lift their day. Takeaway 3, how are you going to balance your life? What are you going to do to set up specific times and to set up proper expectations and to set up boundaries? So tonight you have a little bit of homework to do, some soul searching and thinking. This will empower you to change your life in the time that you have. If you're not working in your home, spend some time in thought. Spend some time looking at each of these 4 areas of life and figuring out what you need to do to get to 100%. These times are the times where you can really, really dial in and work on each of those areas. And remember that the empowerment platform is here to assist you, to empower you. So if there are things that you need, you are welcome to reach out to us. If you're on Facebook, is at Empowerment Platform. YouTube is the Empowerment Platform. You can send a message there. I will see it. Whatever help that you need. If we can't help you, we will find the resources to assist you in this time. So think about that, family. Allow that to just sink in. Think about what you're going to do, because this is you. If you can see the circle behind me, I know I kind of sat on the wealth. There's the wealth part of the whole thing. But in the center is you. You have to do something in each of these areas to make the change. So think about that, work on that, and just be blessed. Sit in it. Sometimes we just got to sit. Sometimes you just got to be silent. Clear your mind. They say gravity was discovered the last time something like this happened, because he didn't have nothing to do. He was quarantined and he sat down up under a tree and the apple fell. Who knows? We don't know if that's true, but I think the innovation, inventions, new ideas, relationships can be healed. You can get healthy. Your mindset can be fixed. Well, your mindset can be changed to be a growth mindset, and you can elevate yourself in this time. Take advantage of it. Be the person or be the people who will grow from this and not let it take you backwards. Utilize it to your favor. I thank you for joining me. Facebook, YouTube, Twitter family, wherever you may see me or hear my voice, whatever platform that you're on, remember that the Empowerment Platform is here to empower you to reach your goals, whatever they may be, by providing you the tools and resources that you need to succeed. Think about the 4 areas of life. They are the keys to a 1% lifestyle. Get 100%. And I challenge you next week when I come on. I'm not sure what the topic is going to be, but if you were listening tonight and you join next week, I'll do a little ask of who did you contact? You don't have to say the person, or did you contact someone, and what moves did you make to reach a 1% lifestyle? What steps did you take? What did you start to work on? Good night, family, and be safe.